Welcome back to Artificial Neural Networks virtual class. Today we will discuss bias variance dilemma, a very important topic from the artificial neural networks or machine learning perspective. And if you extend this concept and train your brain, it can also help you to teach how to study any subject or how to learn any new concept. 2 days back, we have discussed what is generalization and why it is important. In simple terms, generalization means that a neural network should perform well not only on training data, it should perform equally well on the unseen data during the testing. If the neural network is not able to perform on unseen data, then what is the use of training a neural network? Because we want to train a machine or we want to train a neural network so that it can do well on unseen data also. Now, good generalization is highly important criteria for any neural network or machine learning. That is why generalization is very important concept. But how do we achieve that? For that, you need to understand bias variance dilemma. Apart from generalization, in the last class, we have also obtained an equation that is required to start bias variance dilemma concept. So we will be starting with the equation where we stopped in the last class and then modify that to understand the bias variance dilemma. To understand the bias variance dilemma mathematically from the exam point of view, we need to go back to the equation where we stopped in the last class. So if you see the first term of the error equation function that was discussed in the last class, it was equal to half into summation j is equal to 1 to p integral expectation of dj given x minus fj of x comma w whole square into p of x into dx. So this was the first term of the error function. Then the second term represented the residual error, which is half into summation j1 to p integral sigma square of x p of x dx. So this together made the error function for a multi-layered neural network. So this is where we stopped in the last class. Now to make the things simple, we will not consider the multi-layer neural network to discuss the bias variance dilemma. Instead, we will use only a single linear output neuron. So single linear neuron we are going to consider to discuss the bias variance dilemma. So now we have to rewrite this multi-layered error function for a single linear neuron. So instead of, so what we can do is we can neglect the summation term because now we have only single neuron. So if we neglect the summation terms in the first term and second term, we get the error function equation for a single linear neuron. That will be equal to half into integral of f of x comma w minus expectation of d given x whole square into p of x into dx plus half integral sigma square p of x into dx. So this is the starting point or the starting equation to understand the bias variance dilemma. So to understand this equation, we discussed everything in the last class. The whole statistical point of view of a neuron to get this error equation or error function so that we can understand the bias variance dilemma. If you have not watched the last class video or if you are not able to understand these terms, please watch the last class video or go through the lecture notes and only then continue with this video lecture. The second term, residual error, represents the average training data variance conditioned on the input. And this second term is independent of the weight, network weight. Therefore, in order to minimize the error by changing the weights or training the neural network by changing the weights by minimizing the error, we cannot uh, do anything with this second term because it is independent of the weight. Therefore, we can neglect that term. Or in other words, this error cannot be further reduced, and that is why it is also called as residual error. So therefore, we will neglect the second term. During training, we therefore attempt to minimize the first term over which we have a control because it contains the weight parameter. You can see that f of x comma w. We reach optimal training function f of x comma w when we minimize the first term of error function e, trying to make the integral 0. Therefore, we know from the equation when do we achieve that. That is integral becoming 0. That can happen only when f cap of x comma w is equal to expectation of d condition x or d given x. So when this term f of x comma w is equal to expectation of d given x, then the integral becomes 0. But this is an ideal case. We want to reach as close as possible. Therefore, the closeness of a network function to the optimal is given by the following term: f of x comma w minus e of d given x whole square. So this term measures how the network deviates from the desired average. So f of x comma w is our network map. So where we are training or where we are changing the weights so that the error minimizes, and the error minimizes when we reach f of x comma w as close as the average expectation of d given x. And then when we minimize the error, we tell we have achieved the training, right? But notice that the deviation depends only on a particular instance of a training dataset. We want to minimize on the entire dataset. Therefore, this dependency can be eliminated by averaging this term over the ensemble of dataset having Q patterns. Therefore, we will apply expectation on this above term. Then it becomes expectation EQ of f of x comma w minus expectation of d given x whole square. Therefore, this term measures how the network deviates from the desired average considering all the dataset having Q patterns. And we can minimize the error function when f of x comma w reaches as close to expectation of d given x. Therefore, this term EQ of f of x comma w minus expectation of d given x whole square is very important from the bias variance point of view. There could be two possible reasons for a network to deviate from the average expectation of d given x. That means we want to train the neural network so that we minimize the error function, and that is achieved when the network function, that is f of x comma w, reaches as close as to expectation of d given x. But there could be two reasons for which this may not happen. That means we may not be able to train the neural network properly. So the first reason is the network function itself differs from the average expectation of d given x. That is, f of x comma w itself is differing from expectation of d given x. This deviation of function, neural network function f of x comma w, is termed as bias. So the bias is the reason for which the neural network may not train properly. That means it may not reduce the error or minimize the error so that f of x comma w can reach as close to expectation of d given x. So this is the one of the important parameter, which is bias. If we don't reduce the bias, we will not be able to train the neural network in order to minimize the error. Second parameter could be the same network function f of x comma w generates large error on some datasets and small errors on other datasets. In other words, the network function is sensitive to the selection of the dataset, and this is termed as variance. Therefore, the neural network function f of x comma w deviating from the average expectation d given x is bias, and the sensitivity of this function f of x comma w for the selection of dataset is termed as variance. And we are interested in this bias and variance term. And how do we balance this bias and variance? Ideally, we want both bias and variance to be as low as possible. This EQ term, EQ of f of x comma w minus expectation of d given x whole square, consists both bias and variance. and we want to give a mathematical formula for both bias and variance from this equation. So next we will discuss how to get the mathematical equation for bias and variance. We'll derive that. In order to derive the bias and variance terms, let us consider this term f of x comma w minus e of d given x whole square. Now f of x comma w will be replaced by f of dot, because every time we will not be able to pronounce f of x comma w. So from now onwards we will pronounce only f of dot. And then for the above term we will add and subtract EQ of f of dot. That is, we will apply ensemble average EQ on the f of x comma w term, and this EQ of f of dot will be added and subtracted in the above term. So it should not be changing the above term, because we are adding and subtracting both. So if we do that, the above term changes to f of dot minus e of d given x whole square will be equal to f of dot minus EQ of f of dot plus EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square. So we have added and subtracted. Now this 4-term square has to be expanded. So the first term f of dot minus EQ of f of dot will be considered as a. Second term will be considered as b, that is EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x. This will be b. Now a plus b whole square, using that if we expand this, it becomes f of dot minus EQ of f of dot whole square plus EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square plus 2 times of f of dot minus EQ of f of dot into EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x. Consequently, by taking ensemble expectation EQ on both sides of the above equation, we get, that means we are now applying ensemble average EQ on both sides of the above equation. EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square will be equal to EQ of f of dot minus EQ of f of dot whole square plus EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square. So the last term will be vanished, because when we apply expectation on the last term, it becomes 0. Therefore, finally we get EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square will be equal to EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x whole square. This term is bias square term plus the second term EQ of f of dot minus EQ of f of dot whole square. This will be the variance term. So now we get the mathematical equation for bias, square, and the variance. Therefore, the bias EQ of f of dot minus e of d given x represents or measures the extent to which a network function f of x comma w deviates from the conditional function e of d given x averaged over all possible data set. The second term variance EQ of f of dot minus EQ of f of dot whole square measures the sensitivity of the network function to the choice of a data set. From the discussion what we had till now, we can observe that one need to strike a balance between the ratio of training set size to network complexity such that both bias and variance is minimized. That means one has to choose a proper training set and sufficient number of weights, which represents network complexity, in such a way that both bias and variance is minimized. Only then we can expect the model to generalize well. Otherwise, it is difficult to generalize. There are two important factors that decide valid generalization from a network that has learnt a training pattern set are: first one, the number of training patterns used in learning. Second, the number of weights in the network. That is, how many number of training patterns we need to use and how many weights or how many hidden layers or how many hidden neurons has to be used in the network decides how good a generalization can be achieved or during the training. It is straightforward and clear that there should be sufficient number of distributed training patterns that are sampled into the training set in order to describe the function. In other words, when we are dividing the total patterns in the data set into training set and testing set, which we do in supervised learning, we need to include sufficient number of distributed patterns, that is patterns which are not of same type. It consists of all kinds of patterns in the training set, so that so that it can help to find the right function that maps the current data set as well as future data into desired output. So the selection of patterns into the training set makes a very important criteria, because that decides how you are going to train the neural network. And if you don't select the proper training set which consists of all kinds of data, then it will be very difficult to generalize. So we need to know what kind of data makes a good approximation function that can map from the input to output. Second, the number of training patterns should be large enough to effectively train all the weights. See, when we want to map input to output, we need a function, and that function could be of complex. Therefore, we will include more weights. And when we are including more weights to map that complex function, we should also take care that there are sufficient number of inputs to train all the weights which we have used in the hidden layers. So you cannot do a neural network training in supervised learning with very few data in the training patterns. Then too many weights and too few patterns would lead to a situation where the network might learn weight values without sufficient constraints get without sufficient constraint. It is it is this situation where the network gets overtrained and fail to generalize. That is, you have used a large number of weights, but you have very less number of training patterns, and this leads to some known as overfitting problem. In the reverse case, where you have less number of weights and more number of patterns, it is always going to be underfitting. Both all of these constraints or all of these conditions will fail to generalize. Is not a proper way of doing good generalization. So we need to have optimal number of input patterns, we need to have optimal number of weights, only then we can do a proper good generalization for a neural network. After selecting optimal number of training patterns, which consist of distributed patterns and optimal number of weights, you need to take care of bias and variance. Both bias and variance should be minimum. If you satisfy all these parameters, only then you will have a good generalization and your neural network will perform exceedingly well, not only on training patterns but also on the unseen data types, and will have better generalization. Now let's understand how the concept of bias variance dilemma can be used for our day-to-day life learning. We all know that our brain is the best neural network on this world with billions of neurons as its weights to learn. Therefore, when we have more weights, we need to feed that brain with sufficient training set that consists of distributed patterns. Just now we understood that when we have more weights, we need to have sufficient number of training patterns. When we don't satisfy this, then it may lead to overfitting problem. For example, many of the times you have told or you have told yourself that you did not perform well in the internals or in the exam because the questions were different, or you had not practiced those kind of questions. That means you did not perform well on the testing, but in the training you performed very well, right? So this happens when you study only 10 questions which are there in the assignment, and you expect that the same 10 questions will come in the exam. Let's say in the internals it may come because the same 10 questions may repeat there. Then in training it perform very well, but in the exam it will not perform well. But we know that we should perform equally good in the training as well as in testing. That can happen only when you train yourself with all kinds of data. That means with all kind of scenarios, you need to understand the concept, or you need to feed your brain with all the knowledge, with different kind of knowledge, which will help you to do better in your training as well as in your testing. So you are studying this subject ANN, then you should perform well in your internals and in your university exam as well as in the interview. Then you need to train yourself with all kinds of data. That means you have to study from the exam point of view, you have to study from the interview point of view, then you have to study how to apply this knowledge to solve real world problems, because you have such a good brain with so many weights to learn all kinds of input. This applies not only for this subject, for all the subject and for all the concept what you learn. Therefore, next time when you are wondering how to train an artificial neural network or your neural network brain, remember four important parameters: training set patterns, number of weights, bias, and variance. High bias usually lead to overfitting problem, whereas high variance usually lead to network performing randomly. For some it will be working good, and for some it will not be working good in the training. Similarly, the same performance will be seen for the unseen patterns. There is no guarantee that it will do well. So what is the solution? You need to reduce both bias and variance, and find the sweet spot, so that you can achieve good training output as well as testing output. Only then you have trained yourself or the artificial neural network, which can perform under all different conditions. I hope this concept of bias variance has helped you to understand how to train a neural network as well as to train yourself. Thank you for watching.